Hi everybody and welcome back to my little YouTube channel. If you're new to this channel, my name's Amanda. I'm a diagnosed autistic adult. I was diagnosed a few years ago and I'm 40 years old. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about autism and Christmas. So let's discuss autism and Christmas time. If you don't know what autism is a neurodevelopmental condition. It's a genetic condition. That means that we're born with autism and we have autism all our lives. Autism's a spectrum. You may have heard the saying, if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism, and that's because, like everybody else in society, we're all different. Autism affects everybody differently. And it can be particularly stressful at this time of year. And I'm going to go into that now in this video. So this time of year, December time, can be a real stressful time for autistic people. And that's because there's so much change. We have bright lights to deal with, lots of loud music to put up with, family just turning up at people's houses without even pre-planning it in advance sometimes, and it can cause so much anxiety and it can lead to so many autistic meltdowns. Add to that the bright lights and the banging music that's just constantly around us. We just literally can't escape flashing lights and loud Christmas music in shops and even in people's homes and even sometimes in workplaces. Sometimes everything at Christmas time can just lead to sensory overload, and it can just be a bit too overwhelming. So autism affects the way we see, the way we hear, feel and interpret the world around us. And that can mean that we can be affected so much by different sights and sounds, the taste and texture of things, foods for example. Take Christmas time, when we're just overwhelmed with an abundance of different foods and different tastes and textures and spices. And you might have family and friends putting pressure on us to try new things when we just don't want to because we don't like change. A lot of autistic people, we tend to eat the same things throughout the year, so we might just rely on, for example, beige foods. So Christmas time, along with all of what I've just said, can be so overwhelming to us when we just want to curl up in a ball in our rooms and isolate ourselves. Let's also not forget the gift-giving experience during Christmas time. A lot of autistic people, firstly, we don't like the attention. So being sat around an environment where you've got loads of family and friends and people giving you gifts and everybody just staring at you and expecting an emotional response can be really, really stressful and daunting to us. Firstly, a lot of autistic people, we don't like social situations. So being around groups of people can be really anxiety provoking. And oftentimes our response to having gifts given to us can be different to neurotypical people. We might not respond to our emotions the same as everybody else, so we can feel like having to mask in that situation all the time, and that can be incredibly draining. So sometimes having autism and being around those family social gatherings can feel really, really stressful. And that's why if you know an autistic person, you might see there's an uptick or an increase in the number of meltdowns that we have every year. And that's literally because of everything I've just said. The bright lights, the different foods, the different textures, all of the noise from the music, family gatherings, and all of these things combined can just lead to this massive amount of sensory overload. And it can just all get a little bit too much. And it can lead to meltdowns. Now, a meltdown doesn't have to be crying or screaming and kicking. It can be silent treatment. My meltdowns will often involve just shutting off and not responding to family and friends, not texting back or not answering phone calls. And I can just literally shut down and go to bed or go somewhere quiet and just be by myself in my own company. So if you know an autistic person and you're noticing an increase in emotional meltdowns or shutdowns during the festive period, the answer might be they're just experiencing a massive amount of sensory overload. So what can you do to help yourself as an autistic person during the festive period? Or even if you know an autistic person, you might know an autistic person in your family, a friend, a loved one. What can you do to help them during this particularly stressful time? Let's find out. If you find during the Christmas period that there's so much different choice of food and drinks, and Christmas Day is going to be a little bit of a daunting day for you, it is for me, because as an autistic person I like to eat the same type of food and drink the same type of drink, and I have done for many years. And again, it comes back to change. So any sudden change can inflict a lot of anxiety with me, and I'm sure you can relate. So if you are feeling a little bit stressed that you're going to go around to family and friends and they're going to have all this abundance of different foods and drinks, just having that conversation with family and friends. I have autism and I like to eat this particular food, or I like to stick to this particular diet. Just involving family and friends sometimes can be enough for them to understand your point of view. And if all else fails, just take your own food and drink with you and just say that you're contributing to the Christmas party and just enjoy yourself. If you find bright lights, big bright flashing lights and lots of different coloured Christmas decorations, Christmas baubles and all that mishmash of Christmas decor too much during the festive period, sometimes it can lead to sensory overload because there can just be too much going on. A lot of autistic people, we like things to just be simple and clean. Just having that conversation with your family, instead of having multicoloured Grinch coloured baubles this year, is it possible that we can just stick to silver and keep it simple, because it's giving me a headache. If you're going through a family Christmas period and you just want some time alone, then just explain that you need to take some time out. It's okay to set boundaries and say no. And there's nothing wrong with spending time on your own during this Christmas period. In fact, it's really healthy sometimes in order to protect your own mental health. Christmas is about love and understanding. It's not about gift giving. So I'm sure if you've got family and friends that understand your autism, they'll love you for who you are. Don't forget to set a budget for yourself this Christmas, and don't put so much pressure on yourself as an autistic person to spend a huge amount of money on family and friends. Christmas is about love and it's about family and friendships. It's not all about money. So sometimes putting so much pressure on ourselves and going into debt just for one day, it's just not worth it. And if you feel incredibly overwhelmed by all of the loud sounds and the loud Christmas music, think about wearing noise cancelling headphones. It may just help dampen down some of the sensory input. You might find that wearing sunglasses helps you as an autistic person if you know that you're going to be going into an environment where there's bright flashing lights. So just buy a good pair or a cheap pair of sunglasses and take them with you everywhere you go. In order to have an autism-friendly Christmas, just make sure that you've got a quiet and safe space pre-planned out during your festive activities. So again, talk to family and friends and make sure you've got somewhere to go, another room that's just quiet. Make sure you've got sunglasses in there, noise cancelling headphones and a selection of your favourite foods and snacks. If everything gets a little bit too much and you get a little bit overwhelmed, you've got somewhere to escape. Another thing to consider is the smells around Christmas time. So a lot of people have nice Christmas candles and nice smelly things, which I love cinnamon. But don't forget, due to autism sensory overload, a lot of these things can be extremely triggering for autistic people. So again, just have that conversation with family and friends with regards to high smelling candles and plug-in diffusers, and just ask them if they can just tone it down while you're around. Worthwhile gradually increasing Christmas decorations day by day rather than doing it all in one go. So you might just take the 15th of December or the 16th of December and just put up a quarter of the Christmas tree decorations. Doing it gradually can really help autistic people because it can give us a sense of control in our lives and it just won't overwhelm us that way. And if you are going to go shopping during the festive period, sometimes it can just be too much with crowds of people and all the hustle and bustle that goes along with it, and the people bumping into us and the music, the lights, the eye contact, having to make conversation, having to know where we're going, in what aisle on the shop and what we're going to buy. Maybe consider going during off-peak times of shopping. So choose times that people are not going to crowd into the shops and just take some pressure off yourself. Sometimes as autistic people it can be really stressful receiving gifts from other people that we just don't know what we're going to receive. I think it's that unpredictability and feeling like we're just not in control of the situation. So having that discussion with friends and family and just saying, is it possible that I could choose my Christmas gift? And knowing what you're going to get in advance can give us more sense of control on Christmas Day. A really good idea to help your autistic loved one, or even to help yourself during this festive period, is to use advent calendars. Advent calendars give autistic people a real good sense of control, and it's just a guide with regards to a countdown, the days to Christmas. So sometimes just having a chocolate advent calendar and advising your autistic loved one we're 5 days into the Christmas period, and then rewarding them with something tasty and sweet can just be a good way of preparing for the Christmas period. For a lot of autistic people, the change to our daily schedule, our routine, our way of life can be particularly stressful and anxiety provoking. That transition of going to school every day, waking up at a certain time, coming back home at a certain time, it can change for those few weeks during the festive period. So just having a conversation, just sitting down with your child or teenager or loved one and just advising that during this Christmas period things are going to change a little bit, and just having that talk with them can sometimes just prepare them in advance and give them a little bit more comfort. So before we get going, I want you to know that if you're autistic or if you have anxiety or depression, just try and take a little bit of pressure off yourself this Christmas. Make lists and just discuss with family and friends what stresses you out during the Christmas period. And talking to other people can sometimes help immensely. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And if you have, please consider hitting like, commenting and subscribing. And I shall see you for my next vlog.